What's going on, y'all? It's Sunday and I hope everybody out there is feeling fantastic. So let's go ahead and jump right into these topics. And the first thing I want to discuss is the controversy that Ari Lennox stirred up this week by saying that she wasn't feeling Martin going at Pam like that on the Martin show. She felt like that his comments were colorist and things of that nature. And a lot of people have a lot of opinions about it. Some people are on the side like, yo, Martin was giving it to everybody. Pam was giving it back to Martin. And then there's others that feel that Ari is justified in her feelings. No one can tell her how to feel about the comments that Martin made towards Pam. And the fact that people are trying to tell her how to feel is disgusting and despicable. So what I want to do right now is play you guys a soundbite of what Ari had to say, and then I'm going to play you a couple of reactions to this, and then I'm going to come back and give you my 2 cents.
The only thing that pissed me off about Martin was how much he would go on Pam. Like, I know, like, and this is coming from a girl who I love me a good, like, joking movie, and even when the joking movie is like, damn, like, that fucked up, like, you know, I'm not like too woke or something is what I'm trying to say. Like, I'm honestly not, I'm problematic. I'm pretty problematic, low key. But my point is that there are some things where I draw the line and it just bothered me, or like, I don't know. It's like Pam was so fucking beautiful and so fine. And I just feel like growing up as a chocolate girl, like, I don't even know if I was able to understand the greatness of Pam because of the light that I feel like I was being fed. You know what I'm saying? Like, of just like always going on Pam, always, like, that's all I remember. And I didn't like that. But like, so I feel conflicted because while I feel like the show is incredible, I feel like Martin is a legendary show, and all of the actors and Tommy and like everybody, like, legendary, amazing. Like, I adore them all. Like, you have no idea. And I adore Martin. Like, I adore him. It just pissed me off. Like the joking on Pam. I just didn't like that.
I'm pretty sure if Ari Lennox was a light-skinned woman or even a white woman, with her saying that, you know, on Martin was definitely targeting Pam because she was dark-skinned and the jokes were about her complexion. If she was light-skinned or a white woman, y'all wouldn't be saying nothing to her. But the fact that she's getting so much backlash is low-key proving her point, because y'all want her to shut up, but what she's saying is actually accurate. Let's not act like Martin wasn't making fun of Pam and her features all time. The BDB comments, the fact that he would always mock her for wearing weave, even though Gina had way more weave in her head than Pam did, but yet Pam was the one being made fun of. And let's not act like him saying that she was so masculine was not a blatant display of colorism, because as a dark-skinned woman, I've heard that way too many times. Let's call a spade a spade. He was always making a joke about her appearance, referring her to being an animal and all type of. You want to tell me that was not about colorism? Be for real. And if we're being honest, the jokes were never funny. I don't understand why they put the script any way.
So Ari Lennox was saying how it never sat right with her how Martin used to come for Pam and her looks on the show. And honestly, as a dark-skinned woman, that never bothered me, because he never once spoke about her skin tone. He spoke about her weave, you know, her hair, her breath. He spoke about like just funny shit about her, but never talked about her skin tone. And Pam used to come for Martin too. She was just as witty, just as funny. I never once felt some type of way about the way he joked on her, because it wasn't offensive. You know what I'm saying? And back in the day, I heard a little rumor that Martin was fucking Pam anyway in the real world. You know what I'm saying? So, like, and Pam was beautiful. We all know this. Sometimes I feel like Ari Lennox just says, like, rage baity things. Because, honestly, where did this come from? This has never been a problem, ever in life. I don't understand it. Ari, girl.
Alright, so you guys just heard all of that, and this is just my opinion about the situation. Although Ari has the right to feel how she feels, and colorism does exist, I feel like she was projecting her own insecurities into this situation, or onto this situation, if I'm being honest. At the end of the day, I didn't see anything wrong with what Martin was saying to Pam, because it was all in fun, and he got on to everybody. You know, And I just think that this situation was very reckless for her to say this, because it started a war on social media. Because although we know that colorism does exist, you just created another avenue for women to start to pick apart, women of a darker hue, to pick apart the situation and just go to space with it, And at the end of the day, Pam was beautiful. She is. And I'll take it a step further. I can't remember her name, the dark-skinned girl that played alongside Tisha Campbell in House Party. I thought she was finer. You know what I'm saying? But that is just my opinion. You know what I'm saying? That is just my taste. There's other individuals that have different tastes out there. Hell, I'll even go a couple of steps further. When it came to Destiny's Child, I was looking at Kelly Rowland instead of the rest of them. Not to say that they're not beautiful. We know Beyonce is attractive. We know Michelle is attractive. The girls before were attractive, but I was looking at Kelly Rowland. But I do understand in Kelly's defense that maybe her darker skin played a role in her career, not catapulting to where it should be. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, I've never heard Martin mention anything about Pam's skin tone, ever. Never heard it, ever. But listen, this is the thing. And I'm going to say this because I don't think that this gets highlighted enough. You do know that colorism affects everybody, right? Because I had a father that didn't like me because I was lighter than him. And in the South, I don't know if you guys have heard of this term, but it was called color struck. He was color struck because his grandma or mother didn't really like him because he was darker than the rest of the children. So when I came along and I was lighter than him, it was a struggle. He told me to my face that I thought that I was something because I was lighter than him. And I didn't know anything about colorism or anything like that at 6 or 7 years old. And so when I got older, it became a competition in his mind. Every girl I got, oh, you ought to saw me when I was younger. I did this. Oh, you think you something, blah, blah, blah. He was in competition with his own son based off the fact that I was lighter than him. And what's so interesting about that dynamic is that his mother and his grandmother and things like that were dark like him, but didn't like him because he was the darkest child. I mean, that's some crazy ish right there, right? But yeah, I understand and empathize with Ari's feelings or whatever the case may be, but I just think that this may be a little bit too far. I don't think that, Martin, the show, meant any harm towards Pam just based off of her color. You know what I'm saying? That's just my opinion. But anyway, let's move along. And I want to talk about Trump because he had some things to say about pardoning Diddy. And it seems as though that he's saying that he likely won't pardon him because Diddy has said some nasty things about him. But yet he had a PDF file in the White House. And this particular ex-NFL player and polarizing and controversial NFL legend, Lawrence Taylor, is going to be working with children. And he's a registered sex offender, right? Make it make sense. So I'm going to play you guys a couple of clips. I'm going to play you Lawrence Taylor saying that he was just here to serve Trump. So embarrassing as a black man, in my opinion. And then I'm going to play you the clip where he said that he most likely will not pardon Diddy. And then I'll be back to give you my 2 cents.
I'm just proud to be on this team. I don't know why. I don't know what we're supposed to be doing, but I'm here to serve, and I'm here to serve you. Okay, so I'm going to do the best I can for as long as I can. Thank you very much.
To do it.
Sean Diddy Combs,
Right.
would you consider pardoning him?
Well, he was essentially, I guess, sort of half innocent.
Yes.
I don't know what they do. He's still in jail or something, but he was celebrating a victory, but he seems, I guess it wasn't as good as a victory. Probably, I was very friendly with him. I got along with him great, and seemed like a nice guy. I didn't know him well. But when I ran for office, he was very hostile.
He said some not so nice things about you, sir.
Yeah, and it's hard, like you, we're human beings.
Right.
And we don't like to have things cloud our judgment, right? But when you knew someone and you were fine, and then you run for office and he made some terrible statements. So I don't know, it's more difficult. It makes it more, I'm being honest, it makes it more difficult to do.
But more likely a no for Combs,
I would say
like.
so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what?
All right, so you guys just heard all of that. And so what I want to do is take the time to read you this publication of what Diddy said back in 2017 about Trump. And it says, yet Combs evidently complicated matters for himself by having told the Daily Beast in 2017 that he did not really give a blank about Trump. And in 2020, when Trump's first presidency ended in defeat to Joe Biden, Combs, who is black, told radio host Charlamagne tha God that white men like Trump need to be banished. The number one priority is to get Trump out of office, Combs said. Now let's read what J.D. Vance had to say about Trump before Trump ultimately chose him as a running mate. So it says here, but before becoming one of Trump's fierce allies and defenders, Vance sharply criticized the former president. During the 2016 presidential election, Vance wrote that he goes back and forth between thinking Trump is a cynical a-hole like Nixon, who wouldn't be that bad and might even prove useful, or that he's America's Hitler. It also says that before running for office, Vance had a number of things to say about the former president and even identified himself as a never Trump guy. He said that Trump was an idiot, and I already said that he compared Trump to Hitler, right? That he could be America's Hitler. Then J.D. Vance also said that Trump is unfit for our nation's highest office. In a now deleted tweet from 2016, Vance said he was voting for a third-party candidate over Trump. I can't stomach Trump, Vance said in an NPR interview, okay? So I guess it's easy to get over what J.D. Vance said about him in the past because it's very clear and obvious that they share the same hue. But at the end of the day, J.D. was not messing with Trump either. He said some things, and in my opinion, I could never trust anybody that has made those type of remarks about me, and I wouldn't have chose them as a running mate, but he chose them, and it's all good. So it's clear and obvious what's going down here. And my plug told me last night on the phone that he's hearing from a lot of people within the celebrity realm that the only way Diddy is going to get a pardon from Trump, and that Trump has said this allegedly, this is all alleged, right? That it would have to be a transactional deal, meaning that Diddy would have to fork over millions for Trump to even consider giving Diddy a presidential pardon. And listen, that's what was told to me last night. My plug has not steered me in the wrong direction yet, but it's still all alleged information. But I'm hearing that's the condition. Now, let me get this straight, right? So you don't mind having Lawrence Taylor, a NFL legend, and a PDF file in the White House that's going to be over children when he's been convicted of being with a minor, right? And it's just crazy to me. I can't even get my words together. Y'all bear with me, right? It's okay for him to be in the White House and you put him in that position. It's okay for J.D. Vance to say what he said about you in the past and you picked him as your VP. But with Diddy, you're holding an emotional attachment to this situation and you want to do an about face as it pertains to potentially giving Diddy a presidential pardon. Listen, I told you guys last year that it was strange that Diddy got locked up right before Trump was elected, right? I told you guys that this was all political. And I really believe, right, this is just my thought process, I believe that Trump is behind Diddy being in jail. I believe that all of this came out. It may have something to do with the Diageo thing, but I think that they're all in cahoots. They're teaching Diddy a lesson. I think that Diddy has information or had information on Trump. And of course, we know the position that he held when it came to Diageo. And he basically said that they were being discriminatory against him. And so I think that all of these things are true at the same time. I really do. This is just my opinion. And so listen, I'm not here trying to advocate for Diddy to be released, but I am going to say that I'm a fair individual. And if it was anybody else, Diddy would have been released by now. I think that it's clear and obvious that he is not well liked. I think it's clear and obvious there's a disdain for him being a black man, coupled with the fact that he was a billionaire on top of that, right? And so you go out here and you commit all these crimes, you do these egregious things to Cassie and things like that, and you're creating a paper trail on yourself, and anytime the powers that be want to use it against you, it's at their disposal. And so I just think that Diddy put himself in this position, but I think that he's being held in this position based off of racism. I'm just going to keep it real. I'm going to be honest here. I'm going to keep it all the way 100 here, because the one thing that I will say about Diddy, there's a lot of things that we can't stand about him, but he never sold his people out publicly or politically. He was not somebody that pandered. In fact, Diddy was someone that stood on business publicly when it came to his people. He never sold us out like Jay-Z. He never sold us out like Ice Cube. He never sold us out like Snoop Dogg. Never. Never. Diddy has never been on record doing no bum A-ish like that. Never. At all. Now, he's a despicable person. Yes, of course. Right? If he gets time, he gets time. But at the end of the day, my personal feelings about Diddy are my personal feelings. I feel like he's responsible for Kim Porter's passing, allegedly still. But at the end of the day, when I see racism, I gotta call it out. And I don't think it's fair in this particular situation that Diddy is still being held in there. I don't. I really don't. I'm just going to be 100 about it. And just because I feel like he's responsible for Kim's passing does not mean that I feel that he should stay in jail based off of the fact, well, I believe he did it, so I don't care if he gets all this time. If he was not tried and convicted for it, I think that is a very reckless position to take. And I see a lot of people, especially within our culture, taking that position. But anyway, I want to transition to Eddie Griffin because he talked about the passing of Malcolm Jamal Warner, and he said some pretty interesting things. I want you guys to check this out, and then I'll be back to close the video.
You start thinking, he's really Bill Cosby's son. But both his sons are dead. Cosby did something dirty. His real son dead and his TV son dead. That's the connection. I don't believe that man drowned. I don't. But it ain't gonna fix it. But it's too suspicious. They had too many different stories. Him and his daughter was out there swimming early in the morning. How come the mama wasn't there? Mm-hmm. That's number one. Number two, just so happens to be a doctor on the beach. And then his daughter was not in the water. She was on the beach watching her father swim. Somebody make it make sense to me. Now, I'm trying to figure out what they want to kill him for. He's the nicest motherfucker on earth. Yeah, man. They tried to kill me a bunch of times. You can't go nowhere till God says it's time for you to go. Y'all don't know, on the set of Malcom, I had a heart attack at age 27 and died for a minute and 20 seconds. And they hit me with them jumper cables. That's what I call them jumper cables. Shut up! I had an instant uppercut of an afro. I'm trying to choke the out the paramedics because they the car didn't work. I'm all like, calm down, Eddie, and that nurse hit me in the ass with morphine. I don't know if y'all ever had morphine before, but that is good. Nigga, I broke down in sections. And I was a pile of on the floor.
All right, so you guys just heard all of that. Eddie is even questioning the passing of Malcolm. You know, they had that show, Malcolm and Eddie. They had good chemistry. I'm pretty sure they were on good terms when Malcolm passed and things like that. But it's just sad because ever since Malcolm's passing, it's just been silent. The silence is deafening here. Haven't heard anything. I mean, when is the funeral? I mean, what's going on, you know? And it's just crazy to me. But at the end of the day, I'm still doing my due diligence to find out more information as I can. And when I do come across that information, of course, you know I'm going to bring it to you guys. But anyway, I'm going to draw the line here. I want you guys to feel free to drop down in the comments and let me know what you think about everything that I discussed today. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and if you're new here, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I'll get with you guys later. Peace.